Welcome back to the Lucky 13 podcast, where we talk all things people and profit and business. This is one of the co-hosts, Josh Hauser. I'm the other one, Mike Lantz.
We have never edited any episode ever.
Have we, Unger? Has anything been edited? Okay.
It's just what it is. And that's my favorite part.
Well, okay. So, welcome back.
Good to see you.
Fun. Sun's out.
I love it.
Guns out.
Yep.
Kind
of a big deal.
It's good. I don't think anybody watches this on
I
video
know.
anyway.
They should.
Right?
They should. Just for the mannerisms. What it's 55% all communications is body language. 38% is tonation. 7% is words.
Yeah.
If they're only listening to the 45% of our tonation and words, they are missing 55% of the true, genuine communication that we're giving about all things people and profit.
Yeah. Not to mention, how good looking we are.
Yeah. And that we wear onesies.
I don't.
Okay.
But thanks for sharing.
I do.
You have a thing that you do called for if we have first time listeners.
Yeah.
So you work at an organization called Invest.
Yep.
And you are an EOS implementer as well.
Yep.
I'm in all things HR, but you have a lot of clients.
Yes.
And so you do a thing called Wear It Wednesday. Tell us a little bit. About
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I love swag. I wear your swag.
Yeah, you do.
Anytime I can get swag, I love wearing it for two reasons. Number one is because I'm a terrible shopper. And so then I don't have to go. That's a good thing. But number two is I love wearing what other organizations, especially when I know about their values, I know who they are as people. I really believe giving is living. And when they give me swag, I want to give them that exposure. And so my way of living, and today you can see I got my blind zebra with, if you turn the Z, it turns into an N, which is Brian Neal. How about that? But my blind zebra gear on today, because the impact they're making with what they call SOS, the sales operating system, is amazing. I've been in a cohort for almost 3 years now. I met Brian a long time ago. NFL official, runs an amazing organization, EOS driven, heavy into the True You world with you guys. I know they partner with Amber on a lot of things. And I love what Brian represents, which is how do we empower people with an operating system, with a predictable system, so they can have the most success in their sales life and keep it true and honest while they're doing so. And so I'm wearing my Wear It Wednesday. I'll make my post as soon as we're done here and just try to get some exposure. But every Wednesday is I wear somebody else's gear, and it's just my way of giving back.
So there you have it. If you want to be featured on Wear It Wednesday,
send me some
clothes.
The gear. Double X.
Double X for the Hauser man.
Kind of a big guy.
And
I call it long arms. It's because I have long arms. That's what I tell everybody.
I thought you were going to say it's fun size.
Yeah, that too. I like that too. I just, when they're like, oh, you look like an XL. It's double XL. I got gangly arms.
Brian and I have known each other since college.
Did you really? You were back at IU at the dance marathon and everything?
I wasn't the dance marathon guy, but I wasn't involved in that. But we knew each other. We were both in business school together. We didn't know each other really, really well. But
people
we
don't
had
know about your backup role on Footloose, but go ahead.
So, but yeah, we knew them. And also, we recently, in December, we got two of our people certified in the Blind Zebra SOS.
Who got, I saw Amber.
Amber, and then a guy named Tony Sanders, who is aligned with us, and he really helps us out with our serve advisors and training them in sales. And it's a fantastic program. And, Brian talks about, so much of sales, the majority of sales is really about process.
It is.
And I think that that's an important thing to know. And we teach his process to all of our salespeople as well as all of our serve advisors. And
what a great lead in, because the hard part right now is not just finding salespeople, but it's keeping salespeople and keeping them engaged. I know you brought a topic about that today. And if you want to keep people engaged, you create a great process for them. You create a great culture for them. But there's some reporting that came out that you were sharing earlier. So take me through this a little bit and do some teaching. How about that for a lead in?
In 40 episodes, that might be the best transition you've ever done before. Usually I'm doing the transition.
Kind of a big deal.
So, I'm going to refer to my notes a little bit on this because I don't want to get it wrong. But so you've heard of the Gallup organization, right?
Absolutely.
They've been around since like the 1930s, but in the early 90s they started measuring employee engagement, and they did that by rolling out what's called the Q12. And the Q12 is 12 questions, and we'll go through some of those in a minute. And they would ask people's employees to fill these things out, and then they would come back with an engagement score. So they are, they do this for money, and so they want companies to hire them to administer the Q12, and then they send them data and all that. So it's really good stuff. So they've been tracking employee engagement since the late 90s.
Okay, so this isn't like just a recency bias.
No, since the late 90s. Well, they just released their 2024 engagement report, and really, it's the lowest score in the past decade.
Holy smokes.
So if we look at globally, worldwide, the score dropped from 23% to 21%. And a lot of people might think, well, it's 2 points, no big deal. It's a huge deal,
Yeah,
right?
when you're talking about millions of people.
Yeah, millions of people. In the United States, we are about 10% higher than the global number, but we fell from 33% to 31%. Now, the way that Gallup does this is they bucket people into 3 buckets.
Okay.
One is called engaged,
Got it.
one is called disengaged, and one is called actively disengaged.
Oh,
So engaged means I'm showing up every day and I'm contributing and I love my job and I'm giving my all every single day. Disengaged means I'm showing up and maybe I'm doing okay, maybe I'm not, I don't really care, that sort of thing.
just collecting a check, trading time.
Yeah. And then actively disengaged means I'm going to actively pursue people to get them to become actively disengaged.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're the pot stirrers.
Oh, yeah.
They're the turds in
They
the punch
walk.
bowl.
Oh, I love
right?
it. They walk in with spoons.
Yeah. So really what with this number, like let's just round, you've got 30% of the US workforce that is engaged in their work. 30%. That means 70%. So if you've got a company of 100 people, 70 of them
Holy
are
smokes.
either actively disengaged or disengaged.
Am I the only one who got a little gassy when you said that out loud?
Well, it's shocking. I mean, it's shocking.
I mean, seriously, think about 7 out of 10 people in the organization. If you're holding a team meeting, you're looking at them. 7 out of every 10, according to this right now, are either disengaged or trying to get people on team disengaged.
That's right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's scary.
So they predict worldwide that is costing the disengagement is costing the global economy $438 billion in productivity every single year.
With a B?
B with a B.
So if you and I can solve just 1% of that issue, do we get that?
By the way, I just misspoke. The $438 billion is the 2-point drop.
That's the 2-point drop.
That's the 2-point drop is 438 billion.
What if you and I can raise at 1 point? Can we get 1% of the 400?
You and me personally?
Yes, just you and I.
Problem is, that'd be a bad thing for our listeners because we'd probably stop doing this podcast because or we would do it from a tropical place.
Oh yeah. I'd definitely be in a European cut bikini. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
So it just is. It's a big number, and a lot of our listeners who are small to medium sized business owners and that sort of thing, that they're probably rolling their eyes now, going, "Okay, that's a global number, 438 billion." And they're sitting here going, "I'm a $50 million company with 100 employees or 200 employees." I can't compute. So Gallup also reports that the median income in the Midwest of the United States.
Okay.
And the reason I use Midwest is because I don't want to include New York and L.A. and San Francisco
Different
and all that,
cost of
'cause that
living,
just
different pricing.
skews things, right?
I heard
So
$50 minimum wage offer out in California right
Really?
now is on the board.
Interesting. So the median income in the Midwest is $41,000.
Okay.
Median salary.
Got it.
So if you're an employer that has 100 employees,
I'm following the math.
and let's just say conservatively you have a 10% turnover this year, which by the
That
way,
is conservative.
that's a really good turnover.
Yeah.
Like you should be turning 10% of your people anyway.
Yeah.
'Cause, Right.
You're trimming the
But let's
herd.
just, I'm going baseline minimum type thing. So if you've got 10 people you're turning over and and Gallup further reports that at minimum, you're going to spend 50% of their salary to replace them.
So we're at 22,000.
Yeah, and
Per
that's
person.
and that's not just that the 50% minimum isn't just recruiting costs. It's lost productivity.
Correct.
You see companies that maybe have account managers. They turn an account manager, and now all of those clients that account manager was managing, they're
leave.
at risk.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of cost in that. Minimum 50%, maximum 200%. So can you imagine that?
Good night.
Okay. But let's just use the minimum. I'm gonna use minimums straight across the board. So minimum turnover of 10%, minimum salary of 41,000,
44. Yep.
44, and then you look at the 50% of that. So now you're 100 person company spending $220,000 per year in turnover.
And that's extra. That's on top of the salary.
Yeah.
This is a new expense.
A new expense. It's costing you $220,000.
And that's if you are at, arguably one of the greatest turnover rates at 10%.
10%.
And you're doing it on let's just call it the median income. That's not any high earners. That's not any
that's
key
median.
man, key women
It's
employees.
not managers. It's not anything. It's the $44,000 employee in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And while that's going on, if I'm hearing your numbers right, 70% are either disengaged or actively disengaged at any given time. So if to only lose 10%, what happens if you lose 10% of the engaged?
Yeah,
That's
really
where the 200%
right.
probably kicks in.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times where the turnover comes is from the people that are engaged.
Oh, yeah.
Because they sit here and they look at the organization and they're like, I've got 70% of my coworkers that don't give a shit.
Correct.
I do give a shit, and I want to go find a company that cares about having people that give a shit.
They don't want to sit around. Why am I in the room pulling the wagon when these guys are over here not?
So we talk about oftentimes when, and I think we've gotten so much better in this, and we've talked about this on our podcast before. You know, it used to be when I started my first company back in 2000, it was in outsourced HR and training and development, culture and things like that. I used to have to go in and convince business owners that taking care of their people was the right thing to do. That was sale number one. Sale number two was to then hire my firm to help them with that.
To spend money on it and bring an expert in.
The harder sale was the first one.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Today, companies get it. Okay?
Yep.
They're starting to get it, but they don't always put the money behind it to go and do it, right?
Yeah,
or it's
because they see it as an expense, not an investment.
Right.
And this is proving it's an investment.
Right.
It's either going to be an expense or an investment. You choose.
Yeah, or in many cases it's the first thing they will cut, right? We'll get people that'll call us up at TrueU and say, hey, we love being a part of TrueU. We've learned so much. Our culture is so much better, but we've fallen on some hard times, and we're going to eliminate this. It's $645 a month.
We're going to eliminate the growing people part.
Yeah, exactly. And so we kind of roll our eyes sometimes going, this would be the last thing you should eliminate because this is what helps you keep and retain some of your top people that are the ones that can dig you out of the rut you're in.
I can't wait to dig into these 12 questions. But what I just heard you say is if you are looking at people as the expense side and not the investment side, and then not looking at the investment in people as an invest and looking at expense, you need some rewiring in a quick framework because I do believe people don't run companies, processes run companies. But if you don't have good people to run processes, you look like a bad company.
Yeah, or to create those processes.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Or to challenge those processes. So, like, Peter Drucker, whether he said it or not, I've found data that he never even said this, but he's been credited with saying that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Oh, 100%.
Okay? You've heard that?
No, absolutely.
Okay? Whether he said it or he isn't. I believe, and I think what Gallup is saying is culture and people are the strategy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that is the strategy.
That's the strategy, the gravity. That is your long-term success is going to be based off that.
Yeah.
Because your products are going to go through changes.
Yeah. So we're sports guys, I fundamentally believe that in a 7-game series, the team with the best players and the best coaches, they win in a 7-game series. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
I get that.
But in a 7-game series, usually the better team wins. And so in the game of business, the priority, in my opinion, for organizations to maximize the profits of their business is to have the very best people on their team. So,
and I'm going to challenge that one step deeper.
Yeah.
And it's not just the team that you see on the floor during that game. It's the team that's in the locker room before the game and after the game, too. That's the part that nobody sees is just as critical as what they do see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us will associate what that team looks like by the salesperson and not by how that salesperson interacts with operations, finance, and all the other pieces.
Yeah. So let's go through the 12 questions.
Let's
okay, we're going to go through those fast, and then we might have some commentary on a few of those. Then I'm going to get into a little bit of what Gallup has said the biggest drop. I'm going to go ahead and give you the biggest drops first.
Let's hear
the
it.
biggest drops.
I want to hear this.
So we just dropped from 33% engaged to 31% engaged.
And that's America.
That's America. We're not global yet.
Can we just call? Yeah. Well, we have that one listener
in in Dominican Republic.
I like it.
Yeah,
you can name it. You call it what you want to.
Okay, so what Gallup reported is managers have the sharpest decline in engagement. They dropped 3 points. So employees, non-managerial, they stayed flat.
Okay.
At 18% engaged. 18%.
Say that again.
Frontline employees, non-managers, stayed flat in engagement at 18%.
1 out of 5 are engaged.
Yeah.
I'm going to translate.
Sure. Yep. Okay, managers had this sharp decline from 30% engaged to 27% engaged. So the people that are out there leading your front line, okay, your managers that are leading your people, just gave up 3 points in engagement. They basically said, I don't give a shit, 3% less.
So we added another 10% of disengagement.
Yeah. Managers under the age of 35, so let's call them early career managers.
Sure.
Okay, because usually people don't come straight out of school and go right into management, so they work for a little bit and then they get into management. That dropped 5 points.
Good night.
5 points.
5-point drop for our future of our companies that we're developing right now.
100%. This is staggering. Female managers dropped 7 points. Female managers dropped 7 points.
In a world that needs, call it what you want to, empathy, understanding, the hearing voice, we just had a 7% drop in our female manager pool.
Yeah, 100%.
Yuck.
Yeah. So to me, again, somebody might be driving along listening to this podcast going, oh, it's only 7%, it's only 5% or 7 points or 5 points or 2 points or whatever. But that's a massive number when you look at how it's impacting business and how it could be impacting yours and my business or our listeners' business.
Absolutely.
Right. And it should scare the shit out of us. I think.
like it.
Interesting. And it's the lowest number in a decade. Would you like to know when the highest number was?
Yeah, I would.
2020. Isn't that shocking?
2020?
It was the lowest worldwide, and in the United States, it was the highest. Engagement in 2020 was 36% in the United States.
I would love to dive into root cause during that.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to go through. But
Well, it's kind of interesting. Everybody started working from home,
Yeah,
and managers had to work hard
yeah,
to engage their people.
yeah. They
Right,
actually
you
had
can't-
to. They had to be people drivers.
That's right.
They were moving human energy, not moving pieces of paper and emails.
I heard an analogy one time that right as COVID was starting, a leadership guru said, this is like a manager has been out in the ocean under the water and the tide is going out to the ocean. We're going to understand how naked he is.
Oh,
Or
goodness
she
gracious.
is. Because when COVID happened, because now it's going to really show their leadership skills. Because you can't just lead by walking down the hallway and saying how you got to be really intentional about it. So that was just kind of a sidebar. But let's go to these 12 questions, because I think when we think about these 12 questions, they're really simple questions and they're not like massive costs to do these things. So
And I want to remind us, and we can do this on the next episode, I would like to unpack that manager thing for a second.
Yeah.
Come get some root causes on that. But I want to hear the 12 questions.
number one, I know what is expected of me at work.
That's the question we just did this on an
know.
episode like last year.
Yeah.
I just wake up. Can I sidebar for 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Football analogy. It's not an analogy. It's a true story. They studied the best high school football teams in the state of Indiana in the late 2000s. They want to know why certain teams, Center Grove, Central Catholic at that point, go up north to Jimtown, schools like that. Why were they so good? They found out that these teams did three things better than everybody else. You ready for this? Number one is when all 11 players left the huddle, they all knew the play. All 11 knew. They knew what they were supposed to do. All 11 knew the play.
Yeah.
Number two is they all lined up correctly. If it was 2-foot splits, 3-foot splits, if I was supposed to be on the hash marks or outside the numbers, everybody lined up correctly. And number three was they took the correct first step. The teams that lined up correctly, knew the play, and took the first step had a 78% likelihood of having a positive offensive play. One person messed up, they drop into the 50%. Two people messed up, they dropped into the 30s. What I just heard you say is what we're learning in our sports world or band or plays, just know the lines, get lined up correctly, and take the first right step, and your likelihood of being successful is good. How about that for a random throwaway?
I love it. And this one shocks me. I know I've said on this podcast before, when I first started my business in 2017, and I started bringing on clients, and I would say, show me the job descriptions for all of your employees. And they'd pull them out, and they're like 7-page job descriptions.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And I'm like, well, there's 27 things on this that you want them to do. Yeah, they're all important. Really?
Yeah.
Are they really? How do you expect somebody to
important,
really
nothing's
know what's important and what they need to go do? So I know what is expected of me at work. Number two, I have the materials and equipment I need to do work right.
Come on.
How hard is it to do work? Like we've got some challenges going on in our organization right now, some technology stuff, and it just pisses me. I'm sorry, I'm fired up on this.
Look at you.
It just pisses me off because I'm like, I got these great people who are trying to do great work and their technology's not working. We got to fix it because
seriously,
it's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're just going to blow through these.
I'm loving it. No, I'm kind of watching you get all fired up. This is like me on Mountain Dew. Let's go.
We'll come back to these because we're going to do the next episode on the same thing too. But we'll blow through these and we'll come back to it.
Come back. I'm loving it.
At work, I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day.
Unique ability.
At work, I have the opportunity to do what I do best.
I've uncovered what your unique ability is, and I got you to it. Let me see. We call that delegate and elevate, and we go through the chart. Keep going.
And unique ability and, get it, want it, capacity to do it.
Oh, come on. GWC sits right in there.
In the last 7 days, I have received recognition or praise for doing good work.
Just somebody says, you're living our values. You did a good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Drop a note. Come on.
Yeah, easy. $5 gift card to
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Yeah, you can get $100 of them a month.
My supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person.
Huh. You mean that they actually spend time and find out what was the best thing personally happened to you over the last week?
Yeah.
Ask you how your kids were, what'd you
Yeah.
do for Easter?
Yeah.
Want to know
Yeah.
those little things?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
do what we call form, family, occupation, recreation, motivation.
And what they do is they don't just ask the question and then start looking at their
Yeah.
phone. They actually listen.
They go too deep,
Right.
find out a little bit more depth.
Yeah. So, number 6, there is someone at work who engages and encourages my development. There's somebody at my work who encourages my development.
Wake up every day with somebody who's trying to grow you.
And a lot of people think, well, okay, we don't have the resources to send them to a leadership development program or whatever. How about buying them a book
I've heard those
on
things
tape?
work. Yeah.
Or whatever, like agreeing to listen to podcasts together or something like that.
I'm going to call a shout out, and I'm hoping they give me gear. Team I'm going to see today, I'm not even going to call their name out. This holds them out. They read a book a quarter together, and they do a chapter, and they go through it together so that they're always, no matter what, developing something.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It can be. I mean, I'd love them to enroll all their people in these leadership programs.
I need some gear rolls. Go ahead.
At work, my opinion seems to count.
I'm heard.
I'm heard. It's real simple.
You have to say yes. Just hear me.
Yep. Number 8, the mission or purpose of my company makes me feel my job is important. This is organizational clarity, right?
That's what it is.
Organizational clarity. We got to understand where we're going as an organization, and I got to understand where the work I'm doing every day plugs into that long-term goal.
Love it.
My associates of fellow employees are committed to doing quality work. Nothing frustrates people more than when I'm busting my butt trying to do quality work and the guy next to me isn't, and the company that I work for tolerates it.
Yeah. What you tolerate is what you accept is what
Yeah.
you tolerate is
Yeah.
what you're going to end up being,
Yeah.
right? How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And so if you let one person sit on the sidelines while everybody else is working, then the people who are working like, when do I get to sit on the sidelines? then?
Yeah. I have a best friend at work.
Oh,
Now, I'm not trying to translate these and change whatever. Best friend doesn't mean the best friend.
No.
Like, my wife is my best friend, right? And she doesn't work with me. Thank
she didn't
God.
say the same thing, but keep going.
But you have a friend at work that you can talk to, that you can socialize with, whatever. I think this is more and more important with the younger generations too.
Absolutely.
Like Gen Zs, they want to have a friend at work. I have lots of clients. I referenced this a couple of podcasts ago. I had a client that was like, we're checking in on our cultures. Are really good. We don't get people participating as much in certain things. And then we realized there was this whole underculture that everybody was going out together, having a good time, and
Yep.
and that's great. That's what we want them to do, is to spend time together.
Best business movie right now, Toy Story. Got to have a friend in me. Got to have that. Let's go.
Number
Here all
11.
day. Tip your waiter.
In the last 6 months, someone at work has talked to me about my progress. Feedback. Can we
Direct feedback.
Yeah, direct feedback. So, and what's funny about this, in the last 6 months, like, come on now. Like, how about once a week? Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? And that doesn't mean a performance review. It's like sitting them down and going, here's some things that I think you're doing really well.
Are
And
you
here's
open to some feedback?
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. And number 12, I'm like,
kind of fired up.
Well, but a lot of these are like layups.
Yes.
6 months.
But we don't do the fundamentals.
Yeah.
We chase the big shiny things, and it's the fundamentals. It's the foundation. Keep going.
This last year, I have had opportunities at work to learn and grow. So again, back to the development piece. So to me, I've seen a lot of engagement surveys. These 12, I think these are great questions to be asking. Our listeners should ask. Hopefully they'll run this podcast back and grab all of these.
Yes.
And, hire the Gallup organization if you want to, or not.
Do a
Grab
Survey
these
Monkey
12
if
and
you
do a
need to.
Survey Monkey and figure
Yep.
it out yourself and
Absolutely.
find out where people sit on this.
Absolutely.
And so why don't
think
we?
about 70% of people right now are saying, after answering these 12 questions, I'm not engaged.
Isn't that shocking?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, if the bar of the questions was significantly higher, I could understand it.
Yeah. No one's checked on me in 6 months. I don't have a friend at work.
Yeah.
I mean, little thing. It sounds terrible, but
Yeah.
real things.
So we're out of time for this
are.
episode. So what we're going
I
to
like
do is
it.
we're going to call it quits here. We're going to come right back, record our next episode. We're going to stay on this topic. We're going to talk a little bit about why these manager levels were lower. and then also talk about what Gallup recommends in order to increase engagement.
So we're going to bring back recommendations. So they got to listen for the second half.
Yep.
I like it.